Welcome to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo, Dr. Shirley and medium Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world. This is Both Sides Now.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Both Sides Now. I'm Dr. Shirley.
And I am spiritual medium Kelly White.
And we have, as usual, our wonderful John with us today.
Hey, ladies, how's it going?
Otherwise, of course, Kelly and I wouldn't be able to figure this out, so we wouldn't have a show if you weren't here, John. So I guess it's safe to assume that you're here every Monday that we're on.
Thank God for John.
Here. Yeah, I look forward to Mondays.
Yeah, thank you.
We were just talking before we went on air, John, and you said some really good things that I think are important.
Yeah, I just feel like, we woke up in another dimension. This does not even feel real. It's surreal. And it's mind-blowing, to be honest, to think that so much of the world is dealing with this all at the same time, that so many people are sequestered in their homes, self-isolating, and it concerns me because, physical contact, touch is a super important thing. And, and if people live alone or what have you, that's challenging. So, thankfully I have pets, and all that good stuff. But I was dealing with kidney pain really bad yesterday. And Kelly, you mentioned that kidney pain has a lot to do with fear. So I often get it from time to time when I'm not drinking enough water, but I'm sure it was, more intense because of everything that's been going on. And then I reached out to some of my family members, and they were dealing with the same thing, kidney pain, and they live in Ohio. So yeah, my sister's husband and my sister and a girl that worked with my sister. So I'm just like, very interesting. Nothing is, coincidence, right? It's all synchronicities. So it's very interesting. But when I shared that, because I had been dealing with it for probably about all day, to be honest, it almost, I would say probably within 10 minutes of revealing that in a text, it went away.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, and we'll get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting.
What was that, Kelly?
Kidneys represent fear. And I think a lot of people are feeling a lot of fear.
And I think it's so important what you just said, John, about verbalizing it. It goes with, what the neuroscientists say, name it to tame it. When we name our emotions, when we name how we're feeling, even if it's physical pain, it can, if it's coming from an emotional standpoint, it can relieve, even if it's just a little bit. So that's such an important thing too. We're so afraid to get into our emotions. We think that if we indulge them, then we will feel them even more. But the exact opposite is true. If we go into them, if we validate them, if we talk about them, they can dissipate. Certainly in these times, anxiety is going to stay, because we are going through a very anxious time, but it can be reduced. And with anxiety, even a tiny bit of reduction can mean so much. It'll keep you from going into a panic attack.
Right. And I'd like to say that there's no shame or judgment in whatever anybody is feeling right now.
Absolutely. We wanted to dedicate this show just to continue to talk about anxiety and PTSD during this time. It's really triggering a lot of old PTSD. Someone that I was working with, who felt triggered from 2008 and the collapse of the stock market then. And so there's a lot of that. So if you're feeling that, first of all, know that everything that you're feeling, there's a very valid reason for it, even if you don't know offhand what it might be. So try not to be critical or judgmental about it, and to be curious about it, because there is an absolute valid reason for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Well, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology of what's going on right now.
Please do.
Before we get in more into the topic here, we're in a very intense time period astrologically, and this started last December. We had 2 eclipses, one in December and one in January, and then all the planets started lining up, and it's been a very intense time. Currently, today, Mars conjuncts Pluto, and it's almost volatile. It's a very intense time. It brings fear. And ironically, we're talking about fear. This astrological placement is about fear. And it can bring all kinds of loss. So it's a very, very challenging week and several weeks that we have in front of us. Tomorrow on the 24th, the new moon goes into Aries. So we have a new moon. And normally when I say that we have a new moon, we say, oh, it's a new beginning. And tomorrow, actually, because it's in Aries, it means to let go of the past. It's as if our past almost doesn't exist. It's where we are in the present moment now, and everybody on the planet is in this present moment. Everybody. It's not like there's a war in one country and a war in another country and we're not involved. Nope. Nope. Everybody's involved right now. Every single person is on the same path. Pretty interesting time. And so because of this, this new moon in Aries means to make peace with your past and then let go of the past. But it's in order to have a new beginning, we have to embrace all of your human flaws, everything, all your life choices. You'll be looking at a lot of that because you'll have the time to do it. And then this new beginning comes. It's kind of, remember that song by Frank Sinatra, My Way? I faced it all. Well, here we go. We're facing it all.
We are facing it all, aren't we?
Oh my God. And regrets, I've had a few. Okay. Let go of them, whatever, because we're going to move into a new paradigm shift. This is what's happening. So it's not just a new moon in Aries, it's a huge beginning of a new everything. So the other thing is on the 31st, no, I'm sorry, on March 25th, the sun conjuncts Chiron. So Chiron is the wounded healer. And when the sun and Chiron get together, and this is on March 25th, it's it transforms at a deep level. And it means it brings up a healing crisis. So in the next few days, probably there'll be a lot more crisis to deal with. But what you're going to do actually is release old wounds. I'm telling everybody, look at your stuff. Okay, so you did this and this and this and this and this. All right. Okay. Look at it. Bring in for all the traumas and everything that you've had in life. It's accept, what happened, and then start to bring in deep compassion for yourself. And that is going to move you through this period of time, to bring love and compassion to yourself and then to others. But really accept yourself, accept for everything that went on, whatever it was in the past, and we're starting new again. How great. We get to start new. This is the way to think about it. So these are some of the things. And then by the time we get to the 31st, we have Mars conjunct Saturn. It gets a lot more intense. It's just going to be an intense time. Put your seatbelt on, take good care of yourself, and know that we planned for this time during this. We wanted to be here during this great time of transformation. We wanted to be here. Yes, Shirley, even you wanted to be here. We all wanted to be here.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because our souls will grow the most ever. This is why everybody and their brother wanted to be here during this time. Our souls will grow. Our awareness will change. It's going to be unlike any time ever in the history of this universe. You wait.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
It certainly is, and I've heard many people say this. It certainly is the greatest equalizer because it's hitting every country equally. I mean, some countries, of course, more than others, but the risk is for everyone, regardless of race, religion, socioeconomic status, regardless of anything, and even where you live. So
absolutely,
certainly giving us the clear message that we are all connected and we are all the same.
Lori says, since my soul woke in 1224, which is when we had the eclipse on the 1225, I feel like I'm constantly shedding cocoon after cocoon, if you will. Go you, Lori. That's very true and very accurate statement. You will feel it'll feel like you're shedding things. And I will say this to everybody out there, let it go. Whatever it is. I mean, I really do walk my own talk. I had a family situation. I didn't confront it. I just let it go and moved on with my family. And I actually feel a lot better and it's easier because everything has just been better after I did that. So I'm walking my own talk.
Yeah. It's really important. Charlene says this is a great opportunity for many. Hi, Charlene. It is. It's devastating and it's increasing everybody's anxiety, but there's absolutely and certainly something that you taught me, Kelly, is absolutely something that has to come of it and something good that can come of it. And that doesn't mean ignoring how you feel about it. And if someone close to you that you love has been touched by it and has passed on, that's certainly something to work through.
Well, this
But
will stir up everything. And the reason it's being stirred up now is, again, so you can actually release it. You can it'll be stirred up. Our whole lives will change. We were off balance. The
yeah,
universe was, this dimension was off balance. Mother Earth was off. Now the dolphins are back swimming in the canals in Venice. It's going to
right.
repair, it's going to heal. As the earth is healing, we're going to heal. Why? Because we don't have any choice. We're going inward. We all have to go inward now.
It reminds me of, when we don't pay attention kind of one-on-one to ourselves and what we need, the body will speak louder and either cause us to get sick or cause us to slow down, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, it almost feels like nature spoke louder because we weren't
Right.
listening. And now we're
Absolutely.
seeing everything. I think even in China, the pollution in the air has gone down just because the factories had to close.
Right.
So it's such an important time to notice what's happening.
So Tammy's asking me, what does letting go look like? Well, it looks like this. Let's say you've had a grudge on, or if you've had a family problem, and you've had all kinds of problems with different people. It means is it time to let it go now? In other words, things have changed so much. Does it really matter anymore? That's, to me, it's like looking at things and saying, okay, it's time to let it go. I've I've been mad for, whatever, righteously mad for, a year or 2 years or 10 years or whatever. Does it really matter now? In other words, Tammy, do I want to bring this on the other side? And Shirley, you said something that was just great the other day. You said to me, is this something that you will feel guilty of? Not guilty. What was it, Shirley? Not guilty.
It was many times when we think about things that are going on, we think, how am I going to feel if something happens? So if I have many people that talk about a parent who's maybe a very difficult parent who maybe is now in a home, and even one particular case, the mother has late onset of Alzheimer's. She doesn't even recognize her. So I said, well, now you need to do what's going to help you be okay once they pass, or if something were to happen to them.
Yeah.
What would help you be okay, so you don't have to add guilt and other feelings on top of everything else? And sometimes you need to make decisions based on that. I mean, the reality is,
Yeah.
my dad, who's a sweetheart and has an incredible heart, but doesn't know how to connect. And so I visit him and I see him because of that, not because I get something out of the relationship. I never did. However, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. However, I knew that it wasn't out of malice, because he's just Asperger's, so he doesn't know how to connect. But I go and I visit him and I do what I do because I don't want to feel that on top of everything else. I can put what I get out of it, what I don't get out of it, to the side and do what's going to be helpful. And I know that he enjoys my visit. He's not, as in other cases where you don't even notice if someone's there. So it's really important to view it that way as well, because you matter too.
Mm-hmm. And Charlene mentions that when Jupiter conjuncts, that's true, coming up in a few weeks. It's the great benefactor. The facts will come out that will benefit all. That's true. Charlene is an astrologer. Katrina says, I always try to be so brave, but I'm a little scared of what is happening right now. Yes, Katrina, I get it. We all get that. And Shirley, let's talk about the anxiety and the fear that's going on right now.
Yeah. So it's important to validate the anxiety and the fear, because it's already there. And again, everything is for valid reason, but we can control what we focus on. And so certainly if I focus on what's happening and what might happen, I can put myself into a tailspin and go into a panic attack. I mean, I've had those situations before where you notice your anxiety if you keep thinking about something, and then the what if and what if and what if. So it's important to know that you can't control what you focus on. So it's important not to focus on that, because the mind will go crazy. The mind will go into that rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. So when you notice yourself doing that, to pull yourself out, and either with distraction, certainly don't have the news on 24/7, because that'll just increase your anxiety. At that point, maybe connect with a friend. We're able to now use the beautiful, idea of what social media was built for. Was it to connect? So even though we're all isolating, we can still feel connected. Mm-hmm. And you can do it through Skype sessions more so than just making comments on each other's, so do it more where it's live and to feel that connection. Or even if it's not, even if you go on, your friends on your Facebook page and see what your friends are doing and comment on that and stuff, that'll distract your brain from thinking about the worst possible scenario, because we can all go into a collective panic attack if we all think about the worst possible scenario. Right?
Very true.
So know that you have control over what you focus on.
It's better to focus on what you can do to help, not what you think.
Right.
Probably.
Right. Yeah, because our thoughts can go, to the worst possible. I mean, what's the worst fear that most people have is death, and how that death will happen. I mean, that's when we take it to the worst. I remember I was in an airplane once and it started to get jittery, and my mind went there for a moment, and I used my tools to help me. I immediately noticed my feet on the ground, because I saw there was a split second from me thinking the plane's going to go down, and Sydney's going to, and I always think about Sydney. And I knew that I had a split second to either ground myself or to go down that rabbit hole. So it can happen to any one of us, because that's what anxiety is about. And I noticed my feet on the ground. I noticed my seat in the chair. I noticed the noise, in an airplane, it's that kind of muffled sound or people talking. And you ground yourself in all 5 senses, and that puts you back in the here and now. And again, in the here and now, we are going through a very real stressor, but it will reduce, because in the here and now, you're also in your home, safe. So it's important to, and when we get very anxious or very angry, when an emotion is big, the thinking part of the brain goes offline. So it's important to kind of start your own toolbox, whether it's just bullet pointing things that help you, and put it somewhere where you can see it, because in that moment of high anxiety, you won't be able to think about, oh, what did I hear that was a good idea? So write it down for yourself so you can just see it, and that'll just get you into doing, the things that'll help reduce your anxiety.
Right. And spiritually, there are a lot of things that we can do to help reduce the anxiety too. One of my things that I do, and I teach all my clients to do this, is we have spirit guides. And for people out there that are watching that don't know what spirit guides are, before we incarnate, before we're born, we work on the other side trying to figure out what we want to do in this lifetime. And when we do that, we also work with what is called a spirit guide. A spirit guide is a soul that has had a life in this dimension, so they know how tough it is, and they're with us. They cannot change, because we have free will, the course of our life. But what they can do is they can, let's say you're going to go to the supermarket. Well, like back in the day, like 2 weeks ago, you were going to go to the supermarket and then you had this idea, oh, I think I'll go to Starbucks instead. And that idea is you go to Starbucks instead. The guide would have put that in your brain, the thought in your head, and you would meet the love of your life at Starbucks, or you'd get a new job, or something would happen. So a spirit guide can keep us kind of grounded and on our path, but they can't, because we have free will here, they can't do everything. But the best thing right now is to connect with your spirit guide. And in fact, I will tell you this, James Van Prague, who you know how much I love, he wrote a book, Wisdom of Your Spirit Guides. And everybody should get this book. It's really great. I've actually seen my spirit guides, and here's what they look like. I love to show my guides off. I have I have an Indian man from India, and a woman who I call the Jamaican woman. And they are fabulous. I saw them when I was in Tahiti after my traumatic brain injury. And once I saw them, I knew that spirit guides are very real. So everybody's got them. Everybody has at least one. It was kind of funny. My mother had like 6 because she had so many issues. And she was a doctor, so she needed a lot.
Big powerhouse.
Powerhouse. But the spirit guide. So before you go to bed tonight, everybody can do this. You ask your spirit guide for sure. You'll have one. Some will have 2. Some will have 3. You ask them what's their name, and to connect with a guide during this time is really important. And then once you to connect with that guide, I want you to go into something very important, because everybody, before we incarnated, every single person had a key about who they were and what they wanted to do. Everybody has their own key of life. Literally, sit down, have a talk with your guides. All right, guide, tell me what this is about. What am I here for? And actually visualize your own key. Unlock your own sacred energy to come out during this time. We all knew this time was coming. And this is the time to go inward and look, who am I? What am I here for? What did I come to this place for? What have I already learned? Take notes. I'll tell you what I've learned. I've learned compassion. I've learned to be kind. I've learned, what trauma is. You've learned all kinds of things by the time you get, especially to my age, you've learned all kinds of things. And here's another thing that people can do during this time. You can do, everybody, when we pass away on the other side, we do what's called a life review. Okay. And a life review is where we sit with this spirit guide and we review our life. Well, I could have done that a little better. Oh, you did really well here. You kind of screwed up over here. That's okay. You were having a human experience. You can do a life review now because the veil is very thin. And before I forget, the veil is what keeps us from being on the other side. It's kind of a barrier between, but it's very thin right now. And it's thin because all of our people who we've lost are around us now because they're watching us and helping us during this great time of change. So some of the things that you can do is start this life review, start making notes. This is what I came here to do. And really be honest with yourself. Go in, use that key that everybody has to go inward and say, wait a minute. I came in here to do this or that, and now I'm going to get back to center and I'm going to do this because it is not too late. It's not too late. You want to release all your past traumas the best way you can. This time is going to shake everybody up so much that you'll be able to know that this is an illusion. This is the greatest illusion this dimension has. This is it. Our home is really on the other side. So we will get through all of this. I promise we all get through this time. This is not forever time, but it has changed the course of the way we view things, and it has changed the paradigm, certainly. Stay centered. That's right. We are a soul having a human experience. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And have a lot of love and compassion for you and for everybody you meet. It clears up karma quickly.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're doing that.
And I think along the lines of what you're saying, I think journaling, the things that you really like about your life, the things that you're positive about, the things where you noticed growth, where you did a good job on. And then the other side, the things that you're not that happy with, or the things that you'd like to change, and kind of stay with that and ask yourself questions about that. Be curious about, why is it that this part of my life is the way it is?
Right. How did I get there?
You come at it with
no judgment.
Come at it with curiosity. Exactly. Yeah. Coming at it with curiosity as opposed to judgment or criticism is going to help you explore and get to the place, of what you can shift or what you can change to get to where you want to go.
And no blame either. It's like, really, okay, let it go now so we can move on. And where people will get stuck in fear and panic is staying in their old paradigm. It's like the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Oh, the cheese has been moved. Everything has shifted over here. And the sooner, and I know that every day is like a year now, and the sooner you can kind of get inside with yourself, the sooner you'll start to actually feel alive again. Elizabeth says, I just don't think I took a blank attitude. It's going to be what it's going to be.
A fuck it attitude.
Yeah, I don't have cable TV. Good for you. Good.
Yeah. We can't get stuck listening to the news all the time. I mean, if it doesn't affect you, then, and that's what you choose to do, then that's fine. Yeah. But otherwise, balance it out with other things that fill your soul and not just kind of take away, the energy from it.
Because this is only the second week, and then every week everybody's going to feel differently. So some might, feel a little more sad. They might feel more grief that comes up. The reality hit me, although I've been following this, the reality hit me yesterday when I took my beloved dog Otis to the dog park, and there's only one dog there. And I walked out and I started sobbing. Actually, I sobbed inside of there. I couldn't believe it. I was just sobbing over everything. And then today, of course, they closed the dog park. And that really hit hard, for me. I mean, everybody's going to have the things that are the straw that broke the camel's back. There'll be those moments here.
Yeah, that bring it home, that really kind of put it in your face and in perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important to do things, breathing is is, I think, used a lot, and people sometimes make fun of it, but the neurobiology of it is that in-breath stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. So that's the nervous system you need to have to go into action. Out-breath stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what you need to be able to calm and relax. And so if you breathe in by a count of 5, hold it. You can hold it for a count of 6, and then breathe out slowly to a count of 8. Every time you breathe out longer than you breathe in, you're stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system, which can help you start to calm and relax. And again, with anxiety, even if it's just a little bit, it's so important to notice that little bit.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So that's always an amazing thing to do, is to breathe. Another thing you can do is
breath.
Yeah, if you're going out, you can go out for a walk if you can, if you're still allowed to do that. You go for a walk and breathe. Practice breathing while you walk.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, anxiety is about, great fear. And so sometimes we won't notice that we're not moving, because what is fear about? Fear is about something is going to get me. And it's an old, it's evolutionary. And so if we didn't have the emotion of fear, we wouldn't notice it still back in the Neanderthal times, so the tiger wouldn't see us. If we just kept moving, then the tiger would see us and we would die. Mm-hmm. So it's, these emotions all serve a very important purpose. So notice whether you've been kind of watching TV or doing something, notice if you've stood still for a while and move. Even just moving your arms a little bit, that will kind of allow the energy to kind of move through. And instead of being stuck here, you're moving it through all your body, and you can feel the anxiety again just a little bit less. Or get up and move your legs, maybe put on a song and dance a little, but keep movement going. Yoga, anything to move your body, because in fear, we tend to sit very, very still. And again, that's an evolutionary thing that the body just does automatically to not be seen.
One of the things too, spiritually,
Gina is saying we are walking
through the neighborhood and focusing all the blessings. I love that, Gina, because really it is, we can all look at what we have gratitude for. Gratitude is such a powerful word too. I have gratitude that I can sit here and talk with you. I have gratitude, frankly, that I live on a farm, which is really funny considering I came from Beverly Hills. That's really funny for me to say, but I have gratitude for it now. No, I'm not making fun of it anymore.
And gratitude doesn't mean that we ignore what we worry about. We can hold so many different things in the same space. We have this idea that if I have gratitude, then I shouldn't be worried about XYZ, or I shouldn't be anxious about this because at least I have a home and I'm not, yeah, it's nice to help you put that in perspective, but you can hold more than one feeling in the same. I don't like to ignore the stuff we don't like to feel just because I'm supposed to have gratitude for some things. I think that we can balance it out.
Absolutely. And Shar says, don't you guys feel like we've been preparing for this? Absolutely, Shar. I feel that way. I feel that spiritually, I've been preparing this for my whole life, actually. I do. And also I work alongside with the archangels and the angels, and they all exist. I will tell you, they all exist. And I bring them in to help me feel balanced again. And when I need help, I ask them for help. And I've been talking to a lot of my family members that have crossed over, and I feel like they're not only around, but they're actually helping. My dad will put a funny song in my head, or I'll start to see things outside that remind me of him, and all of a sudden I'll see a picture of him. So it's a really interesting time to notice those kind of things that are going on now. And I also want to talk about pets. Pets are extraordinary if you have them right now. And even the pets that you've had that have passed away, they're all around now because they're going to bring everybody comfort. Today was my beloved Livy, she passed away, our dog, a couple of years ago, and today was her birthday. So I was talking to her and getting a response back. So anybody can do it. You don't have to be a medium. Anybody can do it.
Well, I think you also said something so interesting that, for people to know that our loved ones who have crossed over are around us, especially in these times.
Oh, because again, we all planned for this. So we're going to see people that pass away that just couldn't take the energy. But most of us planned for this before we got here. In fact, I would say we all plan to be here during this great time of transition. And that's what this is, this period. This is a period that we all came to let go of our karmic issues and live and actually live, to let go of everything. Everything that has held us back, it won't matter anymore. That's my point. It won't matter anymore. Let's just move on into this amazing, this can be an amazing experience. Actually
Yeah, Nancy's.
challenging fear and going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a wonderful, actually saying that, Kelly, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to challenge fear. How can I live in this time with an enormous amount of fear? How can I get through that? Because that'll give you that will, give you some incredible tools to be very aware of. Nancy saying, I watch my local news, but also listen to lots of music and comedy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't do without music and comedy. It balances out everything that's going on.
If I watched the season finale for Curb Your Enthusiasm, my favorite show.
God.
Oh, I'm going to go back and watch every single one. I think there were 100 of them so far. So, I mean, you can do that, these kind of things now. If you're home, you can do that.
Yeah. So whatever keeps you balanced, we have enough things to be aware of and to worry about. And it really, again, it's something that you're in control of, is how can you keep yourself balanced? Right. And if you're not doing it, be curious as to why you're not doing that. Why would you keep yourself in a panic state by either watching the news too much or only reading articles, that we can find anywhere on social media and on Facebook even, that would stress us out.
Right.
And to be curious about why you would do that.
Absolutely. People that have been in wars will experience some great traumas. They'll be maybe re-triggered, PTSD. And one of the things that they can do, and if anybody knows people like this, they can do groups online. There can be a lot of FaceTime book groups online for war, people that are veterans. That would probably be a good thing. And people that are in AA, those, I worry about them because, I'm sure their minds are thinking, oh my God, how do I get to a group? I don't want to slip. That's got to be a tough one for those people. And I was hoping that they would do online. I don't know if they do, but I'm hoping they do for them.
Yeah, it's important to research online and to get, Facebook has a lot of wonderful groups for different, people suffering different things. So look into that. Stay connected. Do not isolate. If you have an issue with addiction and you are feeling an impulse, go on and find a support group for yourself. Use your sponsors, use your support system. There is help out there, even if you have to be alone in your home. Visualization is a huge tool that we can use because the primitive part of the brain doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. So if you visualize yourself healthy, if you visualize your immune system strong, it does help. The body will respond as if that's really what's going on. We use that in somatic experiencing all the time to help get through traumatic events and release.
And Shirley, when you talk about somatic experience, can you explain how that works with where you're would you check with your body? Where are you feeling it? I've had a lot of my clients say, I'm feeling it in my chest, Kelly. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm so, that kind of thing. Is that where, and if it's in the chest, what do they do about that?
Well, so notice, if you notice yourself feeling anxious, notice what's that sensation of anxiety. How do you know you're anxious? Is it a tightness in your chest? Is it a tightness in your tummy? Many times, if you observe that sensation of tightness or of tingly or whatever it may be, observe the edges of it. Notice if it has a shape or a color, and just observe it. Many times it'll dissipate on its own. If it doesn't, maybe another sensation will take your attention. If it's a tightness in your throat, are there words that want to come out? Is there something that needs to be said? So, so it's kind of noticing the sensation that sometimes in and of itself helps dissipate it and staying with it. you know,
Yes.
and the whole time grounding yourself as well. So while it's having a dual awareness, so you're kind of noticing your body grounded, noticing your feet on the ground, noticing your body in the chair or in the sofa, and then noticing where the sensation is and seeing what happens next. Your body will do whatever it needs to do. If the sensation grows, then there's a technique that we use or a tool that you use. Find a place in your body that isn't anxious, even if it's the tip of your nose or your hair, you know, and focus in on that piece and then go back and forth. So if the sensation in your tummy grew, or that you were talking about the chest, the tightness in your chest grew, got tighter, then go to your toe and notice your toe. And if there's no anxiety there, notice your toe and then invite your attention back to the chest. And then go back to the toe and then back to the chest. And little by little, you'll notice that the anxiety starts to dissipate. I did that with my daughter, Sydney, when she was going to start camp and she was really anxious and we did it. And she goes, and I go, and what are you noticing? And she goes, the anxiety is going away. How does that work? Why does it work? You know? So
I
these
love
are
that.
tools that these are tools that you can use that incorporate the body, because if you ignore the body, it's still there.
Right.
You know, and anxiety is a very natural reaction that we're all having now.
All right, John, you said there's a caller?
Yes, we do, ladies. We have callers holding. So let's move on
Okay.
to our first one. We have Nancy, I believe, from Georgia. Hey, Nancy.
Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I should preface this by saying my name is Nancy and I am an alcoholic.
Okay,
So
thanks,
I want
Nancy.
to address, Kelly, what you said about AA meetings.
Please.
And I only like to say this. If I'm not aware of what AA has done nationwide or even statewide or locally, I do have a meeting that I attend every day at noon, but I've chosen not to go because I am older and I have an autoimmune deficiency.
Oh.
But if you will go to YouTube and do a search for AA meetings, there are thousands and thousands of videos that you can listen to. So there's no reason not to attend in that way. But I thank you so much for bringing that up. And I did want to just put that out there that if there's anyone that, you know, is going through that and you don't know what to do, just go to YouTube. Honestly, there's thousands and thousands of videos.
Oh, Nancy, you have made my day. I have so many clients that I can tell that to. I so appreciate what you said. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We all have to take care of each other.
Right on. We all do. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
It's so nice of you.
So
You're
much.
right. You're quite welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, Nancy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So glad she called.
Yeah, that's so important. And maybe you can even start your own. I mean, I would imagine that there would be, you know, visual, like they're doing trainings now. They're all doing them on, you know, online, where you can still be part of the training, but you're not going. There's got to be some AA meetings or NA meetings, you know, all the meetings associated with AA online where you can attend virtually, you know, and so you're still in connection with people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. What a great call.
Well,
thank you. All right, John.
All right. So right now we have open lines. So if folks want to call in, they can. It's 213-893-4464. Normally takes one person to get started and the rest are coming in. So thank you, Nancy, for calling in. And so it's interesting because being the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, I guess they don't mind being on video, which is interesting because you could do like phone conferencing if you if you don't want to be on video or something like that. So
I noticed a comment earlier that talked about you know, that someone listens to meditative music at night on YouTube, and I do the same. You go on TV to YouTube channel, have meditative music. There's a wonderful, if you can put the link up, John. There's a jellyfish video that I think I mentioned last week that has meditative music behind it. If you're noticing yourself anxious and some of the tools that we've suggested aren't helping, go on YouTube and look at this video. The jellyfish move in such a beautiful way that you can't not notice some relaxation. not only with the music behind this video, this particular one that I gave you the link, John,
Yeah, I'll
but
post that in the
also
group.
the visual of it.
Okay.
Yeah, please do. If it doesn't work, I'd really appreciate you letting us know. And again, with anxiety and with what we're going through, it may work just for a moment, and your anxiety might shoot up. But in these times, it's getting through moment to moment, and getting through hour to hour, and then getting through day to day.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important that if it's inside, if you're feeling it inside, you need to get it out. If you're feeling whatever it is, I'm anxious because I feel what, and then really go down the road. I feel okay. And then do what Shirley's saying. These techniques are really terrific, Shirley, for people to
You
do.
notice, yeah, we use that. There's a technique. If you notice that it's your tightness in your chest, move your arms so that sensation of the tightness has more room. If it's tightness in your tummy, move your legs so that sensation of tightness in your tummy has more room to spread out, and you can also maybe visualize it going, if it's in your chest, going down your arms and out of your fingertips. Or if it's in your tummy, going down your legs and out of your toes. Visualization is very powerful because the brain doesn't know the difference. And that's key. It's no different than when we have symptoms with PTSD and flashbacks. So many people who, for example, have been, let's say, robbed at a bank, will even drive by a bank and notice their body respond to it with their heart beating fast. Well, why is that happening? It's not happening in the moment, but the brain made an association. And so we can use that just like a flashback is used because an association is made with two things that don't necessarily, cause anxiety, like a bank, we can use it to our advantage. So we can use it to think about, to imagine, to visualize and to imagine, and that will help.
Right. Wow. And James Van Prague did a great meditation yesterday. So you can go to his site at James Van Prague, or vanprague.com, or you can go on Facebook. Actually, it was on Facebook.
Yeah, I shared it in our Facebook group, Both Sides Now TV community. Also, just to let you folks know, everyone is using Facebook these days, and Zoom and everything else, and the internet. So what's going to happen is there's going to be intermittent issues with video, and we're experiencing that right now with Shirley. So I'm going to bring her back on, and hopefully that's going to fix the issue. So let's see.
Okay.
There we go. I think that's
I think it fixed it, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
Yeah, and if you haven't joined our group, please do so. It's growing every day, and so I'll put that down here. So it's the Both Sides Now TV community group, and it's a support group, and it's free. So you just go to our main page, Both Sides Now TV, the one that you're watching this show on right now, or you could be watching from Shirley's page or Kelly's page, actually.
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we are simulcasting now. So just go there to Both Sides Now TV, and then at the top, you're going to see a visit group button. Click that, and then join our group. And we'd love to have you there. We have like over 500 people that are and there's a great support.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
If you want to make comments on what you have done to help getting through these moments to help your anxiety, we would love to hear what's helped you.
Yeah,
because everything won't work 100% of the time, and different things will help different people. So it's always good to have, a toolbox with different tools that we can use.
I have a list that I made of books. And so, John, I'll give you the list and we can post it. They're spiritual books that people can read if they have the time or whatever. I think it might help also. And I'll add the Spirit Guides book, because I think if you start connecting to your spirit guide, and just know it's like you have your little friend there who's helping you all the time, and he's there. You're not alone. He or she, you're not alone. Think like that.
Your little buddy.
Your little buddy.
Yeah,
I have 2 buddies.
Nina's writing from our group here saying, I also find something creative to do, such as coloring or diamond painting. I do either and watch Netflix or listen to music. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Katrina had put a comment up there, and I wanted to just acknowledge it. And there, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for your show on this topic. Going to work tomorrow, we'll practice some of these techniques at work. Thank you so much, Katrina. We're so happy that we can do this and provide this for you, because we all do need to stick together, particularly during times like this.
this is going to be a pretty intense for some people that are going out to work too. So they're going to need these techniques more than ever. And they're heroes. I mean, I go into a grocery store very not very often now. In fact, maybe not at all anymore. But and I think they're heroes. These people are on the front line. They're heroes.
Yeah.
And also I would think a lot of the healers and a lot of the people that are therapists, they may have their own experiences. I mean, they will have their own experiences. Nobody's exempt from this. We'll all have our own experiences, surely. So, they more than ever, I think healers need to reach out to other healers during this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you and I have stayed in connection, and I have to tell you, Friday I got home. I was so busy last week because everybody is so anxious, and I'm happy to be there. And I got home Friday and I was a zombie. I had nothing else to give. And I came home, and Sydney and I watched Tommy Boy, probably one of the silliest movies you can ever watch. And I needed something to really kind of pull my mind off of everything. And I mean, you're absolutely right that people who are in contact with other people and feel that anxiety and need to really take care of themselves.
They're going to need to, because the challenge is going to be like the old movie, or like Groundhog's Day. So I know when I go to bed, it's on my mind. I meditate before I go to bed. I clear a space. I go to sleep. Right before I wake up, I start getting messages, automatically of, oh boy, what's going on now? And then it's like every day there's, it's going to be there. It's not like when we had fires where, in California, and I evacuated 4 or 5 times, and, we were in some bad fires. And eventually I knew that it would clear up and things would be okay. This is very different. This is a different type of feeling. It's very different. I lived in LA during the riots, and I was right in the front line of that, literally a mile away when it all went down. And that was pretty traumatic for me. So this is different, though. This feels so different than anything that we would ever experience before. And so I think that in the morning, the best thing for me, at least what I do, everybody, is I meditate in the morning. I make some coffee or tea, I let it sit, and I go and I meditate. And I light a candle now when I meditate. I actually light a candle first, and then I go into a meditation. It helps me go into a deeper meditation, and it sets the tone. And then here's another thing. I don't turn the TV on. I listen to music. We were playing Beethoven the other day. I mean, things that I hadn't heard for a long time, if ever. And it was very calming what we were listening to. And Bach, we were listening to a lot of different kind of music. And it's been very helpful. And I try to find some of those memes, I have to say, and everybody's seen them out there, are hilarious. The one with the guy who says, something like the COVID-19, you have your choices. Do you want to be with your wife and baby? That's A, or B. And he goes, B, before you can even see what B is. It was very funny. I mean, there's some hilarious memes out there.
Yeah. So I think keeping, levity in it as much as possible, or purposely bringing it in by looking for memes like that, or watching some comedy, is going to be really helpful.
Definitely,
staying in it.
Moderation with the social media as well, so that you're not taking in so much.
Right.
Especially the empaths being sponges, taking in all of that. Right. So moderation on the social media about what you're reading. That's going to fuel the fears, because you can turn off the TV, but social media is still full with all of those, alarming reports and messages and all of that. But seek out the good, seek out the connection, seek out what's going on that's positive in the world, because there's a lot of real positive things that are happening that people are posting about too.
I'll tell you something really interesting. I have these yellow daffodils. They're 12 days old and they're still alive. And I'll tell you, I have no idea how that's possible, because normally I get daffodils, they die like in 3 days. So I've been talking to my flowers, and I said, I need you. And I put my hands out. I go, I need you. Stay alive. I need you guys right now. Seems to be working. I don't know if it's because the veil's so thin, I'm manifesting quicker, which is what James said. I just said to it. And then here's another weird thing. And I just remembered this. I had some zucchini that I bought 2 weeks ago, and I thought, I'm going to have to throw it away. And I really don't want to throw it away. It was perfect, as if I had just bought it. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, what's happening here? So maybe start talking to your fresh produce, your fresh flowers. They're very real. They're alive. Start talking to them, feed energy into them, and they will, just as an experiment. I want everybody to do that. See what happens.
Yeah.
Susie's got a good point there. She turns on the Impractical Jokers on TV and just laughs. So anything like those comedy, prank videos or whatever it is, that it's just going to raise your vibration and get you to laugh so hard, and could be even inappropriate humor, whatever it is.
Inappropriate humor.
Yeah,
You will laugh.
Get it out, because it's going to raise your vibration by laughing. It just does.
Yeah.
I know that's helped me with the grieving process. Is just that's one of the first things I did, was just buy a bunch of comedy movies so that I had them to turn to.
Yeah. It's not about ignoring what's going on, but it's about giving yourself a break. I don't listen to news in the morning ever. I'm always listening to music, because I don't want that to be bombarded, in my energy field first thing in the morning.
And during this time, we're going to find the most creative things that you just won't believe. So look for try doing something creative, and maybe sketch if you haven't sketched, or cook. I mean, I did a sourdough bread starter. I swear to God, along with growing my sprouts. I mean, things that I've thought about, but I never would have done them, which I love. So Mary Jane says, I keep a daily schedule. I've been off work since March 13th. We are home until at least April 4th. Yeah, at least. And I love that you keep a daily schedule. So if it's important for you, Mary Jane, to keep a schedule, I love that, because it keeps you, probably makes you feel safe.
Bit
Right,
of a
Julie?
routine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important thing. What helps you feel safe, and do
Yeah.
more of that, or discover what that is. If it's keeping yourself scheduled, so get up at a certain time and then do, even if you're at home, then do that. Absolutely. It's an important time to notice what helps you feel safe, because that's what the brain needs, is to feel safe.
So Julie says, oh my God, my mom's flowers have stayed beautiful as well over 2 weeks. So wild. Right, Julie? I heard, Kathleen, your bushes are all in bloom, and it snowed today. How wild is that? It snowed at our house this morning or last night too. I couldn't believe it. And we have nothing in bloom here. Except for my daffodils are still going.
I think it's nature letting people know, and that for this stuff to come out of my mouth, being a left brain, but I think it's nature letting you know we needed that break. We needed that break, and thank you.
We needed the balance. We needed to get back to balance again. I mean, the antidote for all of this is to go inward, learn about yourself, release a lot of toxic waste that you've been holding on to, past grudges, anger, unfairness, all of these things that as a soul, once we decide as a soul to incarnate, there's all kinds of bullshit we're going to go through in this life. There just is. That's why we come here. But then we come out the other side and we let go of all of it. Let's let go of it now so we can actually lead going forward a more kinder, gentler life. Because on the other side, when we pass, the only thing they really care about is, were you good? Were you kind? Were you helpful? That's what they want. That's what you came in to do.
Yeah. Along with that, though, I want to say, if you need to maintain boundaries with someone who's toxic, then absolutely continue to maintain your boundaries.
Right.
It's not all or nothing. That doesn't mean that we invite people in our lives who are going to create havoc, or who are toxic.
Right on, Shirley. Absolutely.
We have one caller waiting.
Yeah,
let's get to that, and we're almost out of time. But let's go to, I think it's Cece from Washington.
Hi, Cece.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Hi, Cece. How are you doing?
I have a question for work as a I have a
you're breaking up really bad, Cece. Can you, if you're on speakerphone, can you go on a regular phone and just hold it to your ear and then speak?
Or maybe she should type the question. No.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. I work, and something come to my line, and he always, this is for Dr. Shirley, depressed, and I don't know how to cheer him up, because he told me that he had bad immune system, and he believed that he's going to die.
Oh. So I think Shirley, what she's saying is somebody came in she works in a store. Somebody came in who was very depressed, and she's an empath, and she was probably picking it up. And he said he has an autoimmune, and he feels like he's going to die. Well, Cece, it's not your responsibility to make him feel better. But Shirley, what are some of the things you could say?
Is this someone that you're in contact with, or someone that came in and you were just kind of left a little shocked?
He happened to be in my line.
Okay.
So you just I probably not going to make it. That's what he said to me. And I told him that, no, you can't. You have to make it. Many people will die. That's what I said. And I felt like he had, and, I just in case I have encountered, what can I say to make him feel better?
Yeah, I'm hearing every other word, but I'm getting the sense where if you encounter it again, you want some ideas on things that you can say to help people feel better. It's certainly a fear that I'm sure is on many people's mind. Am I going to make it? And if you have compromised, health, the fear can grow. I would be curious if this person is isolating, and certainly that's not good to stay in connection with people. You can't change somebody's mind if they're not on board to change their own mind when they feel that. I would validate the fear. Validation of what someone's feeling instead of trying to counteract it can be very helpful, because then you feel seen, you feel heard by someone. So if someone says, I think I'm going to die, I say, God, that's so scary. How are you getting through each day with such fear?
That's very good.
And so you validate what they're feeling instead of trying to say things that'll make them feel better, because they're already feeling that. And so then they can actually feel less heard. So, and we have this kind of, it feels counterintuitive to validate someone's fear without trying to pull them out of that fear, right? But that might be exactly what they need, is just to feel heard and validated by someone else.
That was good. Okay.
Thanks,
Cece, for calling.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Love you too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, the connection was a little intermittent there. But
Yeah. But, that's such an important, and I forget it sometimes too, because it's not what we're taught. It feels so counterintuitive to acknowledge someone's emotions, particularly when they're on the side of fear or, anger. And that in and of itself can have a calming effect and actually help release a little bit of that emotion. The other person just go, wow, that must be a lot of fear to hold on to live with. And sometimes you even see the person, the body relax because you feel, wow, this person heard me. They're not trying to get me to not feel it. They actually are just joining me. They're with me, holding this space of fear.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
We need to do a big shout out to all the people who are going to work these grocery jobs, and going to work these jobs that are keeping us safe, keeping us healthy, and keeping us supplied. And I posted that in our group. It's super, super important that we show our gratitude and appreciation, because everybody's at a heightened state right now. And just think of the sacrifice that they're making to do what they do for us. So
everyone is on the front lines. The police, the firemen,
doctors and nurses.
Yes, absolutely.
What a time, everybody. But connect with your spirit guides tonight. Ask them their names before you go to bed, or before you go to sleep. Ask your guide his name or her name, and you'll hear a name. You might hear the strangest name ever, Frank. I don't know. You're gonna hear some odd names, and that's the name. And don't second guess yourself. That's it.
Yeah. And write down, post on Facebook, some of your spirit guides' names that you find out once you ask tonight.
It's perfect, Shirley. What a great thing to do. What a great thing. I had my husband do it, and the guide, I had him do it. He said, "Do I have a spirit guide?" I go, "Of course you have a spirit guide." So, what's his name? I said, "I don't know. Let's ask him." So the next morning he wakes up and he goes, "Nathan." I said, "Nathan? That's an odd name." Nathan, and he was Native American. Nathan, the Native American. Okay. It was
That's
pretty funny. Yeah.
hilarious.
He
That's
goes,
so funny.
"Nathan."
That
So here's
is
our
so
big,
funny.
our big thank you to all the
Yeah, I love
Oh,
that.
appreciate
Thanks, John.
that's been circulating around. We reposted that, and
Yeah,
beautiful art for the people who are the medical workers, the civil service
it's true.
employees, delivery folks, bank workers, pharmacy workers, journalists,
Yep.
factory workers, truckers,
Yep.
all of those wonderful people. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody out who's still, who is now posting on Instagram or Facebook, the comedians who are still kind of doing, a few minutes here and there from their own homes, trying to keep us laughing and.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
anybody finds anything like that, post it on our community page because we would love to see them also.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, everybody, we want to say thank you to everybody.
So,
Oh, you're back, Shirley. Okay.
Yeah, she's having a lot of connection issues, but
Okay.
we'll get through it. But thanks everybody for joining us. Please join our Facebook group, Both Sides Now TV community, and post there. That's where we post all of our content most these days, and join in the fun.
We'll see you next week.
All
We
right.
will be here. I'll be here.
Yeah. Actually, we'll be
Shirley
here
will
on
be coming
Thursday,
going.
won't we, Kel?
Oh, John and I, tell him, John, what we're doing Thursday.
Yeah, so we're doing a weekly check-in every Thursday. It's a special check-in, especially during this time. Cal and I will be here with you, taking your calls, checking in with you, and just talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about, and doing some readings and just helping you get through the week. So we're here every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 6 p.m. Eastern time, and is that 5 p.m. Central? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And we lost Shirley, but she'll be back with us next week. And that is Monday when we will be live again for this show. And that is at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's 9 p.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. Central. So we hope you guys take care. Might be hosting some games. We talked about this before, and so I might be hosting some games. We've been testing them out. Katrina and a few other people helped me out.
Great.
And so trivia and wordplay games. So that I might, so that should raise your vibration by laughing with some hilarious wordplay games. So
perfect.
How to do that. So watch for the announcement there. So take care, everybody, and we will see you on Thursday.
Bye, everybody.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo Dr. Shirley and Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world.